Okay. Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy, and we're in Bible study. I'm an ordained minister. We're in the NIV, okay? We are in the book of 1 Samuel, and we are in chapter 8. And what is covered here in chapter 8 is a kind of pivotal moment in the history of the children of Israel, and that is that Israel asks for a king. This is not an idea that the On High is too happy with. He was really very much wanting like sort of a nation of people concerned with doing good, like holy people, righteous people, by his laws and stuff. And so a king, that's consistent with the people around them and not really something he wanted. So when Samuel grew old, he appointed his sons as judges for Israel. The name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his secondborn was Abijah, and they served at Beersheba. But his sons did not walk in his ways, which is really like saying the same thing that happened with the sons of Eli. Okay, they didn't walk in his ways. They turned aside after dishonest gain and acceptance of bribes and perverted justice. So all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah. They said to him, "You are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now appoint a king to lead us, such as all the other nations have." We have a footnote here of traditionally a judge to judge us, to lead us. But when they said, "Give us a king to lead us," this displeased Samuel, so he prayed to the Lord. And the Lord told him, "Listen to all that the people are saying to you. It is not you they have rejected, but they have rejected me as their king, as they have done from the day I brought them up out of Egypt until this day, forsaking me and serving other gods, so they are doing to you. Now listen to them, but warn them solemnly, and let them know what the king who will reign over them will do." So Samuel told all the words of the Lord to the people who were asking him for a king. He said, "This is what the king who will reign over you will do. He will take your sons and make them serve with his chariots and his horses. They will run in front of his chariots. Some he will assign to be commanders of thousands and commanders of 50s, and others to plow his ground and reap his harvest, and still others to make weapons of war and equipments for his chariots. He will take your daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers. He will take the best of your fields and your vineyards and olive groves and give them to his attendants. He will take 1/10 of your grain and of your vintage and give it to his officials and attendants, your men servants and maid servants, and the best of your cattle." Hebrew and Septuagint, some young men instead of cattle, and donkeys he will take for his own use. He will take 1/10 of your flocks, and you yourselves will become his slaves. When this day comes, you will cry out for relief from the king you have chosen, and the Lord will not answer you on that day. But the people refused to listen to Samuel. "No," they said, "we want a king over us. Then we will be like all the other nations, with a king to lead us and to go out before us and fight our battles." When Samuel heard all the people said, he repeated it to the Lord. The Lord answered, "Listen to them and give them a king." Then Samuel said to the men of Israel, "Everyone go back to his town." So now Samuel has to figure out how he's going to give him a king. He's got to commune with God and figure out how to give him a king. But if you want to find out what happens next, you got to show up for the next video, friends. Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Niv, and we are in the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 9. Pardon me there. Samuel anoints Saul. That's what this particular heading is called. So, there was a Benjaminite, a man of standing, whose name was Kish, son of Abiel. It's not really Abel, it's Abiel, so Abiel. The son of Zeror, Zeror, the son of Becorath, Becorath, the son of Aphiah, Aphiah, of Benjamin. He had a son named Saul, an impressive young man without equal among the Israelites, head taller than any of the others. Now the donkeys belonged to Saul's father Kish were lost, and Kish said to his son Saul, "Take one of the servants with you and go and look for the donkeys." So he passed through the hill country of Ephraim and through the area around Shalisha, Shalisha, but they did not find them. Then they went into the district of Shaalim, Shaalim, but the donkeys were not there. Then they passed through the territory of Benjamin, but they did not find them. When they reached the district of Zuph, Zuph, Saul said to the servant who was with him, "Come, let's go back, or my father will stop thinking about the donkeys and start worrying about us." But the servant replied, "Look, in this town there is a man of God. He is highly respected, and everything he says comes true. Let's go there now. Perhaps he will tell us what ways to take." Saul said to his servant, "If we go, what can we give this man? The food in our sack is gone. We have no gift to take to the man of God. What do we have?" The servant answered him again. "Look," he said, "I have a quarter of a shekel, that is about 1/10 of an ounce, or about 3 grams, of silver. I will give it to the man of God, so that he will tell us what to take." Formerly, in Israel, if a man went to inquire of God, he would say, "Come, let us go to the seer." Just so you know, because the prophet of today used to be called a seer. That is because abilities come with connection to God, and they always have. See, even back here, and because this is somebody anointed by God, chosen as a child who God spoke to directly, right? So, not a question of if. So, let us jump in. Good, Saul said to his servant, "Come, let us go." So they set out for the town where the man of God was. As they were going up the hill to the town, they met some girls coming out to draw water, and they asked them, "Is the seer here?" "He is," they answered. "He is ahead of you. Hurry now. He has just come to our town today, for the people have a sacrifice at the high place. As soon as you enter the town, you will find him before he goes up to the high place to eat. The people will not begin eating until he comes, because he must bless the sacrifice. Afterward, those who are invited will eat. Go up now. You should find him about this time." They went up to the town, and as they were entering it, there was Samuel, coming towards them on his way up to the high place. But now, the day before Saul came, the Lord had revealed this to Samuel. About this time tomorrow, I will send you to a man from the land of Benjamin. Anoint him the leader over my people Israel. He will deliver my people from the hand of the Philistines. I have looked upon my people, for their cry has reached me. When Samuel caught sight of Saul, the Lord said to him, "This is the man I spoke to you about. He will govern my people." Saul approached Samuel in the gateway and asked, "Would you please tell me where the seer's house is?" "I am the seer," Samuel replied. "Go up ahead of me to the high place, for today you are to eat with me, and in the morning I will let you go, and I will tell you all that is in your heart. As for the donkeys you lost 3 days ago, do not worry about them. They have been found. And to whom is all the desire of Israel turned, if not to you and all your father's family?" Saul answered, "But I am not. But am I not? Sorry, I'm stumbling over this. But am I not a Benjaminite from the smallest tribe of Israel? And is not my clan the least of all the clans of all the tribe of Benjamin? Why do you say such things to me?" Then Samuel brought Saul and his servant to the hall and seated them at the head of those who were invited, about 30 in number. Samuel said to the cook, "Bring the piece of meat I gave you, the one I told you to lay aside." So the cook took up the leg with what was on it and set it in front of Saul. Samuel said, "Here is what has been kept for you. Eat, because it was set aside for you for this occasion. From the time I said, I have invited guests." And Saul dined with Samuel that day. After they came down from the high place to town, Samuel talked with Saul on the roof of his house. They had flat roofs, and often would have some kind of like temporary privacy structure up there, like curtain sort of situation, and that's where their tubs were, their bathtubs and everything were. They rose about daybreak, and Samuel called to Saul on the roof, "Get ready, and I will send you on your way." When Saul got ready, he and Samuel went outside together. As they were going down to the edge of town, Samuel said to Saul, "Tell the servant to go on ahead of us." And the servant did so. "But you stay here a while, so that I may give you a message from God." And I have to tell you, if a seer, especially one to the stature of Samuel, said such a thing to me, I'd be like, "Okay, I guess I'm not going anywhere. What message from God?" So, I hope that you would embrace equally such a message from God directly to you. Until the next video, friends. Hello, friends. So, Bible study, the Niv, John chapter 6. We're going to do 1 through 21. But we're going to also pause in between. So, Jesus feeds the 5,000. Some time after this, Jesus crossed the far shore of the Sea of Galilee, that is, the Sea of Tiberias. And a great crowd, although I might be pronouncing that wrong, it's got an AS, not a US at the end of it, and a great crowd of people followed him because they saw the miraculous signs he had performed on the sick. So, he's roaming around the various towns healing people and like camping out in the wilderness with his friends, and they're just, he's gaining a crowd. Then Jesus went up on a mountainside and sat down with his disciples because, come on, it's got to be exhausting to be followed around by people all the time. Just think of it like, celebrities who have to deal with the paparazzi. Wouldn't that get annoying? I think it would get annoying. I would just get you people back up off me. I said the Jewish Passover feast was near. So this gives you a context for the time of year it was. Because this would would put it sometime in what we would in North America would see as March or April, because the Passover feast is the same Easter weekend. It's the same. Those two. The Last Supper was Passover Seder, so those two things are together. And the Passover Seder isn't just any old day of the week. So. When Jesus looked up and saw the great crowd coming toward him, because it's like, damn, they found me, he said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread to feed these people to eat?" He asked this only to test him, for he already had in mind what he was going to do. Because compassionate Jesus. Philip answered him, 8 months of wages would not buy enough bread for each one to have a bite. Because 5,000 people is a lot. Another of the disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, which always is just like, why do they do that to Andrew? How come he's always just Simon Peter's brother? Why isn't he just Andrew? Spoke up. "Here is a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. But how far will they go among so many?" Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." There was plenty of grass in that place, and the men sat down, about 5,000 of them. Jesus then took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed it amongst those who were seated, and those who were seated had as much as they want. He did the same with the fish. When they all had enough to eat, he said to his disciples, "Gather the pieces that are left over, let nothing be wasted." So they gathered them and filled 12 baskets with the pieces of 5 barley loaves left over from those who had been eaten. After the people saw the miraculous sign that Jesus did, they began to say, "Surely this is a prophet who has come into the world." Jesus, knowing what they intended to come and make him king by force, withdrew again to a mountain by himself, because he doesn't want to be their king. So he's like, no, that's not what I'm here for. He's got a specific destiny, and that kind of thing, you would have to think of that as it's a potential temptation. So kind of like the One Ring sort of deal. You intend to use it for good, but it would not come for good. He has a specific thing that God has told him he is supposed to do. So he's focused on that specific thing. Now, it's the feeding of the 5,000, and it's just like, remember though, the backbone of all DNA, human, animal, plant, doesn't matter, same 5 elements. Now, there are other elements, obviously, in our body than those 5 elements, because this is just what makes up DNA. You start getting into molecules of amino acids and proteins and lipids and fats and all kinds of stuff, where it comes in, like, I know chemistry is not everybody's favorite subject, including my own, but organic chemistry is kind of necessary for you to have a fundamental understanding of how you should be eating, rather than all these random pieces of advice. Each one of those things does a different thing for your body. Like, there's a lot of talk about balancing your hormones and everything. Well, you got to balance your insulin. Your insulin tells your estrogen, your testosterone, your progesterone, a bunch of other things what to do. Tells which sugar what to do. So if you've got any form of diabetes, your first job is to feed your insulin receptors. Not just take more insulin into the body, because that you need a prescription for. It needs to be monitored, all that kind of stuff. I'm not telling anybody just not do what their doctors tell them to do. But the omega 3, 6, and 9, get you a vitamin where they're all put together. That's what feeds your insulin receptors. I mean, this is a journey I'm personally on because it runs in the family, and I am pre-diabetic despite a very healthy lifestyle pattern. So he takes this. Remember, all those molecules, to get back on track, they're all similar, and he can see them just as he turned the water in the wine by spinning it. He's just taking this and expanding things that are already there. He's twisting the molecules of anything around it to make it be more and more and more and more and more, because he can do that. Because he can just change the molecular structure of anything he's touching. That's part of how he's healing things, because he's clearing away. And he's praying and doing it. I mean, he's not doing it just on his own. He can only, tells you that repeatedly, he can only do what God has empowered him to do. That's why the faith of it matters. You have to believe he can, or there's not enough generated energy for him to change it. The next thing, this is 16, and this is one we'll do till 21. Jesus walks on water. When the evening came, his disciples went down to the lake, where they got into the boat and set across the lake for Capernaum, where most of them are from. By now it was dark, and Jesus had not yet joined them. A strong wind was blowing, and the waters grew rough. When they had rowed 3 or 3.5 miles, so okay, they saw Jesus approaching on the boat, walking on the water, and they were terrified. I don't know that I would be terrified. I think my response would be like, dude, how'd you do that? But he said to them, it is I. Don't be afraid. Then they were willing to take him into the boat, and immediately the boat reached the shore where they were heading. Okay, so instantaneous travel. Now that's like, did he make a mini wormhole? Did he make a little? Because we only know about wormholes in space, but I mean, he made some kind of portal in order to do that. I mean, that's pretty much what's going on. Even if you're watching the Harry Potter, if you're I'm all over the Geekosphere, but so I'm a Ravenclaw, in case that is not apparent to anybody who likes Harry Potter. I'm a Ravenclaw. They if you think of when they apparate and disapparate, where they're just sort of popping in and out of existence like that, how would they do that? How would they do that? It would be like we get to see in the sci-fi world, where they go into the wormhole, or in the Star Wars world, where they're in hyperspace. So either you're moving faster than the speed of light, good luck with that, or you're traveling through a wormhole. I mean, scientists today will tell you that we can't really move. There's not a fuel source strong enough on Earth that can make us move faster than the speed of light. But portals, opening a door from one thing to another, well, people pass into heaven and stuff, so clearly portals are in existence if you believe that people go to heaven. If you believe in heaven, if you have any of that, clearly there's energy portals somewhere. So you're taking them through an energy portal. But the walking on the water, that's very interesting, right? Because there's these interesting qualities to water when you start getting into the actual science of it. And they're the oxygen in that process, because remember, it's 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom in this molecule. And what tends to happen, because the oxygen is so negative in the just in its molecular charge with the electrons, especially after it's made a couple of covalent bonds to hydrogens, is that it'll tend to stick to surfaces and creates this sheet on the top of water that is not really like any other element. And it's really happening because it kind of concaves. We'll use my coffee in the cup for an example. Okay, so you see how it looks like it's a little higher here along the edges? That has to do with how the water molecules bond. It's actually holding on to the cup, and then the rest of the water kind of goes down into a concave. Now you can have it in the other way, but that takes different sets of conditions. In average, this is what it is. And this type of membrane it almost creates across the surface of that water makes it like a sheet. And that is why, like, when it gets really cold in cold weather states and stuff, because this is Arizona, we don't get ice. It's like not like from the freezer, but no, not really much of anywhere else. Like sometimes up on the mountain they get snow, but the ice doesn't just fall to the bottom of the lake and it just creates stacks, which is good for, the fish that have to live in the lakes. Otherwise they would die. Like, they would not, nothing would stay alive down there in the ocean is just in constant motion because of the moon. But in still water things where it's not in constant motion, the reason they don't die is because the ice doesn't just fall to the bottom. The ice stays like floating on that top because it's coming into contact with that membrane that's just naturally there, that membrane that's there, but it's not there. It's why leaves float on the top and they don't sink to the bottom. It's what you're seeing gets disrupted when you're skipping a stone and it's making that ripple effect. So he has found some sort of way to walk on that surface to make himself lighter than the tension of water. Now, this is a person who's half DNA, it's half Holy Spirit, and he's upping his light quotient, so his mass is apparently something he can control. He can make himself have more or less mass, because that's the only way he can do that, to walk on that tension of that surface. He has to be able to raise and lower his mass to be lighter than the surface tension of water. I find that scientifically very interesting. I'm not saying it's impossible, because there's nothing impossible and I'm a believer, but that's just like, wow, how do you do that? Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister. We're in Bible study. We're in the NIV. We're in the book of Psalms, book 4 of Psalms. We are in Psalm 105. In this video, we are doing verses 16 through 36. There is a video prior to this if you wanted to hear verses 1 through 15, and there's a video after this if you wanted to hear verses 37 through 45. So let's jump in. He called down famine on the land and destroyed all their supplies of food, and he sent a man before them, Joseph, sold as a slave. They bruised his feet with shackles, his neck was put in irons, till what he foretold came to pass, till the word of the Lord proved him true. The king sent and released him. The ruler of the people set him free. He made him master of his household, ruler over all he possessed, to instruct his princes as he pleased, and teach his elders wisdom. Then Israel entered Egypt. Jacob lived as an alien in the land of Ham. That's a different child of Noah. The children of Jacob, they come from Shem. Yeah. The Lord made his people very fruitful. He made them too numerous for their foes. Also, in Egypt, they had a different name. They weren't called Israelites there. Because remember, Joseph was who was famous in Egypt, and not Jacob. So there's only like one hieroglyph anywhere where it says Israel, and that's when it comes later, and it talks about like a battle after King Solomon. After the conquering of King Solomon is mentioned in hieroglyphs. But in other hieroglyphs, they refer to him by a different name, and they've actually found the area with all the chariots and stuff, archaeologically speaking. It's very exciting. So just remember, verse 23 here, okay? Then Israel entered Egypt. Jacob lived as an alien in the land of Ham. The Lord made his people very fruitful. He made them too numerous for their foes. That's very true. Whose hearts he turned to hate his people, to conspire against his servants. He sent Moses his servant and Aaron, whom he had chosen. They performed his miraculous signs among them, his wonders in the land of Ham. He sent darkness and made the land dark, for had they not rebelled against his words? He turned their waters into blood, causing their fish to die. Their land teemed with frogs, which went up into the bedrooms of their rulers. He spoke, and there came swarms of flies and gnats throughout their country. He turned their rain into hail, with lightning throughout their land. He struck down their vines and fig trees, and shattered the trees of their country. He spoke, and locusts came, grasshoppers without number. They ate up every green thing in the land, ate up the produce of their soil. Then he struck down all the firstborn in their land, the firstborn, the firstfruits of all their manhood. So that would be the story of Passover, right there, in a little nutshell. Until the next video, friends.